Well, we are almost a quarter of the way through the season. How is your team standing in their playoff chances? Well, let's go ahead and dive on into my revised NFL tier list for after week 4. Alright, so over here you can see my NFL tier list that I made before the start of the season, before week 1. This is going to be our case of reference, but let's go ahead and dive on into my new and revised updated tier list. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start things off here with the Arizona Cardinals. Currently 2-2 through 4 weeks, last in the NFC West. And I just don't know how I feel about this team. I feel like there's just too many inconsistencies on offense. The defense has been alright, but not really the greatest. Not to mention that they have teams like the Packers, like the Colts. The Cowboys can be an offensive juggernaut when they want to be. We've seen that a couple times this season. And they play the Rams twice, who in my book should be a 4-0 team, and not just because of the Rams flag, but because they had 2 blocked field goals in a game where they lost by a couple points. So realistically, it was not quite a great game for the Rams. But either way, talking about the Cardinals here, I see the Cardinals as about a 9-win team or so in my book, which in my mind, that is good enough for a possible playoff team. I don't know that 9 wins is going to do it in the NFC. I think the NFC is very top heavy with a lot of good teams near the top. I don't know if 9 is going to be good enough, so I have them as a possible team. As for Atlanta, I'm not sold. Y'all have been inconsistent, and you still have the Bills, Niners, and Colts in the next 5 games, plus down the stretch, the Buccaneers and the Rams. As for Atlanta, I'm going to put you guys under a miracle. I just am not sold on you guys. Right now, you're all 2-2, but you're not doing much to topple the Buccaneers anytime soon. It does not feel like. All right, now we got the Baltimore Ravens. And for this team, I got one word written down in my notes here: injuries. Injuries. You have many injuries. Some of your big ones. Lamar Jackson, we don't know if he's going to be out for how long. Jair Alexander went down. Madubuike went on IR, among many other injuries. I mean, it's easier to name the number of healthy players than the unhealthy players as of right now. Pairing that with a medium to easy schedule, yeah, they're 1-3, but ultimately the way things are sitting, I think that the Ravens are a possible team. Again, I'm not sold that they're going to do it. 1-3 is a pretty tough hole to climb out of, but given their schedule, I do think it's possible. Buffalo, let's just put you guys where you belong. Y'all are 4-0. Yes, you just had a sloppy game against the Saints, but good teams know how to win sloppy games that they play. And yeah, it was a bit scary, but again, y'all pulled it off, and you guys have a medium schedule, in my opinion, in terms of strength. Carolina, y'all need a miracle. I mean, let's be real. I was high on you guys, and I want to be high on y'all, but a rough start, and your schedule doesn't even get any easier. I mean, looking down your stretch, it does not get easier on this schedule. You had a relatively easy stretch. So, y'all have some components, so I'm not going to put you as a top draft pick because you guys do have some of the pieces. You're just not quite gelling in the way I would want. Chicago, y'all are 2-2, which is not bad at all. Taking a look at what we've seen, Caleb Williams has shown some flashes, but your schedule does no favors for you. If Caleb Williams and the rest of this team can bottle that energy they had over the last couple weeks, they can be a possible playoff team. But again, can they bottle it and run with it? That's the big question. Yeah, after the Monday night game, let's go ahead and put the Bengals down there. It needs a miracle. Y'all have no Joe Burrow until at least roughly December. Not to mention the fact that Jake Browning has been browning his pants at the thought of facing these defenses because the Bengals are not doing him any support. Last night, as of recording this, Monday night, they got more penalties against than first downs. Y'all need massive help. Not to mention that you guys have the Steelers on your schedule, the Ravens on your schedule, and among these other teams, you might get to 8 wins. That will be considered lucky if y'all can get to 8 wins in my book. Cleveland, I want to be high on you guys. I really do. But your offense is doing your defense absolutely no favors. I mean, y'all only won because you gave up only 10 points to the Packers. That is a big ask to give up only 10 points per game. That is a huge ask, and if your offense can't produce much more, you're gonna lose a lot of games. I mean, that's all I gotta say. You have no offense, which is gonna kill all that defensive momentum. Dallas, I'm not really wowed by you guys, if I'm being realistic here. Even looking at the notes I've wrote down over the last couple days, the defense has been abysmal. The offense has been very inconsistent. Now, you might have a bit of an easier schedule coming up, but you do have a run in back-to-back weeks of the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Lions. You could very easily drop 3 games in that stretch. Yeah, it's not right now, but you'll have 3 games that I could see you guys easily losing. So that being said, I'm going to put you guys under possible because if you guys can square off against these juggernauts in an offensive showdown and not tie like you did against the Packers, you guys might have a chance. But again, I'm just not sold. Denver, you guys finally made a big statement last night. You guys are 2-2 right now. The AFC is wide open right now. And I had you guys written down as a possible team. If you guys can play like you did last night, I think that you guys are a likely playoff team. But we also got to remember, you still have 5 games against top teams on your schedule. If you guys can capitalize, I will move you to likely playoff teams for sure, as I'm moving this all around because I'm grabbing the wrong thing. But as it stands right now, I'm going to put you guys as a possible playoff team, but you guys are like the top tier of the possible teams. All right, the Detroit Lions. After your first week loss, you guys have rebounded like absolute insanity. And yeah, you have some tough games coming up, but I trust the Detroit Lions to take on this tough schedule. They've been putting up points recently. They've found the solution against Lamar, and you guys have just really been electrifying the league right now. You guys are going to be contenders in my book. Maybe on the weaker end of contenders, but definitely a contender. As for Green Bay, I got you guys pegged as a 10-win team right now. You guys are going to make the playoffs, but I'm not putting you guys as Super Bowl contenders yet just because I have seen a little bit of inconsistency, a little bit more than I would like. And again, you know, I'm not entirely sold on this Packers team being the one to go all the way. They are definitely making steps to improvement, and I could very well see by week 8 me moving them into Super Bowl contender territory. I just don't see it just yet. I'm very close, but I'm just not quite there. Houston, you guys finally got a big win. You guys are now 1-3 on the season, which is a tough hill to climb out of. But ultimately, you guys have been keeping it close with 3 strong teams, but you guys have just not found a way to win those games. If that trend does continue, I'm going to leave you guys under the needs a miracle, because if you guys cannot find a way to win these close, tight games against good teams, and you're only going to beat teams that are lower than you, there's not really much hope. You guys need to get back into what made the Texans of a couple years ago. And you guys just have not found that fire yet. You guys have just not figured it out quite yet. I think you guys need a bit of a miracle to get back on that track. Now we got the biggest surprise of the year, the Indianapolis Colts. You guys are likely playoff teams. Again, I don't know if we're going to see Daniel Jones fall off, so I'm not quite sold just yet. Again, the season is still a long season ahead of us. You guys are 3-1, yes. But it still is a long way to go until I would say you guys are a lock. That being said, if you guys can keep it up, you guys are potential contenders. I just don't know what you guys are going to do down the stretch. Is Daniel Jones going to collapse? Our team's going to figure out how you guys are winning. Now, also, you guys do have a schedule that does pick up a lot after week 6. Yeah, you've had a tough game against the Rams, and the schedule just picks up after week 6. So again, that's going to be your test for the Colts. I see you guys as likely making the playoffs. I don't know that you guys are locked quite yet, though. Jacksonville, you guys were a surprise at 3-1 so far to me, but I am only going to put you guys in the possible tier because, again, you guys did win 3 games against mid to weak teams. Your real test is going to be coming up with the Chiefs, the Seahawks, and the Rams. The Chiefs are finally getting into their groove. The Rams have been absolutely electric all year. They've been dangerous. Yeah, they've had some faults, but they've been dangerous. And the Seahawks have just been an offensive juggernaut. Nothing else to really say about that. All right, Kansas City, you guys are finally starting to get your move going. I'm going to put you guys in likely. Again, a 2-2 start is not the greatest by Chiefs standards. It's abysmal. But you guys have started to finally find your groove. And again, I think you guys can capitalize on your schedule. I'm not going to be calling you contenders or locks because we have had those concerns. But I do see you as a likely playoff team as of right now. Again, though, I'm just not quite sold on the lock or contender tier yet. All right, as for the Chargers, I had a couple things written down for you guys. You guys have been just about as advertised. I'd imagine in your next 5 games, you guys get at least 3 wins, if not 4. And then during the last 6 games of the season, you win another 2 to 4 games. Let's say you get 3-3, that's another 6 wins. That's 9 wins right there. And that doesn't account for all the games in the season. So I am going to put you guys as a likely playoff team for that record because I think, 9-10 wins is going to do it in the AFC. Just for clarification, I think I might have said likely, but yes, you guys are playoff locks in my book, just given the fact that 9 to 10 wins should do it. As for the Rams, one big question for you. Why are Yins trying to pull the Steelers? Yins are doing everything you can to try and lose these games and win them at the very end. That being said, I do think that you guys are likely to make the playoffs because you are finding ways to win them. But again, you're giving too many heart attacks for the Rams fans to really say that you're going to be playoff locks. You are like, every single week, you're about 1 or 2 plays away from teetering off from being 3-1 to being 1-3. You know, it's been that kind of a season for the Rams, and I'm not quite sold for sure yet until we start seeing them start to manhandle and dominate some teams. As for the Raiders, they're about as expected for me. I didn't really have too many high hopes for them. I thought they would have had a chance, a long shot, but again, they're proving to me that they are not really that great. 1-3 record, and again, the schedule doesn't get any easier for this team. So they have a big uphill battle at 1-3. It's not going to be pretty for them. They're fighting for a top pick. Miami, y'all finally got an offense going, but I do think you guys are in the needs a miracle tier after getting your first win of the season to go 1-3. But at the same time, you guys did lose Tyreek Hill to a horrendous injury. Now, that might be saying that, Tyreek Hill wasn't doing that much, but at the same time, that is another deep threat that is gone from this team. And not to mention the fact that you guys just have not been playing that great. Now, if you guys can keep this momentum rolling, you started the momentum week 3 with a close loss to the Bills, then week 4 with a pummeling out of the Jets. If you can roll this into the season, you're going to be moving up this tier list very quickly. But as of right now, I do think you guys do still need a little bit of a miracle. Oh boy, Minnesota. Without JJ, Wentz has been all right, up and down. He did have that ferocious comeback attempt against the Steelers, failing to do so entirely, but did have that attempt. Got to give respect to that. And JJ, though, however, has been kind of rough. The way this team has been, I do think it really just depends on how they play their cards. Looking back at my notes, I have them here as a possible playoff team. Again, right now in the standing sheet, they are sitting at 2-2, tied with the Bears. So again, it's going to be tough in the NFC, but I think that they can do it. They just got to bottle up that energy to be able to get things going in the right direction. New England, as for you guys, May has been very solid in most of his starts. He's played games close like he needs to, which has really been good for them, and the schedule does open up for them. So I see them as roughly an 8-win team, give or take maybe 10. So I'm going to put you guys as playoff team, or a possible playoff team, because again, I see you guys around 8 to 10 wins, probably closer to the 8-win mark, but you guys are going to be close to fighting for that playoff spot. Alright, as for the Saints, you guys are going in a needs a miracle. The reason you guys are not fighting for a top draft pick, and it's because even though you guys are 0-4, you aren't quite yet fighting for a top draft pick, is because you found ways to play games close. You played the Bills close for about 3 quarters. The first couple weeks, you've been playing your opponents very close, a lot closer than I was expecting. So that being said, eventually those kind of plays could start turning things around. And again, you do need a miracle at 0-4, you really do. But I think that they could pull off that miracle if the quarterback play can just step up. As for the Giants, I don't know. I think that the Jackson Dart era is here, but he is losing one of his key players, not to mention the 1-3 start. He lost Malik Neighbors for the year. I have them as a top draft pick contender, not because of any fault of Jackson Dart, just because of organizational incompetence, a very brutal schedule, and losing your number 1 wide receiver in week 4. So again, it's just going to be a tough season for the Giants. Keep your head high, Jackson. As for the Jets, I have them under the category of a possible playoff team. Again, it is brutal at 0-4. In fact, I might actually tip them down to needs a miracle real quick. As I'm moving the tier list around, I'm going to top them down to needs a miracle live time because, again, they are sitting at 0-4. And, I mean, yeah, the schedule is not the most difficult schedule in the world. I just am not quite sold that this team is going to be able to continue and taking it to the next steps. Now, if they can start playing like crazy, they've played some pretty close games, especially with Fields in play. But they need some sort of force of magic to help them. As for Philly, you guys are going under the playoff locks. I did move you down from the Super Bowl contender despite being 4-0 for one big reason. You guys have been winning games, yes, but you guys have not been winning games entirely confidently in my book yet. Not to mention that second half versus the Buccaneers, you guys threw for 0 passing yards in the second half. I'm not saying you have to go all out and throw for 200 yards a half, or even 100 yards a half. But just no passing yards in the second half against the Buccaneers, I'm sorry, that is not a formula for success. So Philadelphia, you guys are going to make the playoffs, but you guys got to get something to change in the positive direction for you guys, for me to take you guys back up to contenders. Pittsburgh, you guys are going to go under likely playoff teams. Again, I think that you guys are going to be a 9 to 10 win team roughly this year. It should be good enough in the AFC. The big question is going to be, can the defense keep playing lights out like they've been the last couple weeks? And can the offense finally start getting their groove? Rodgers has been looking steadily better and better and better. For most weeks throughout this season, he's been looking better and better and better. The question is, can they keep it going? And knowing Mike Tomlin, I'm not entirely sure, but I do think that they are more likely to make it than not by a significant margin. Seattle, Yins are likely as well in my book. Again, you guys you've had strong and elite play for the last couple weeks, in weeks 2 to 3. You barely escaped versus Arizona, which is a little bit scary, but again, given your schedule, you generally should be in a good spot to make the playoffs this year. San Francisco is likely in my book, mostly for the fact that they are sitting at 3-1 and they have been managing to escape these wins like Houdini just about. Again, the luck ran out against Jacksonville, but at the same time, they do have a softer schedule coming up, so I do think they're going to capitalize on it, even despite injury. They're probably not going to get a win this week, given that they are going against the Rams, and the Rams have just been a stronger team, but I do think that they are likely to make the playoffs in a wild card sense. Tampa, again, you guys are the beneficiaries of a softer schedule. I have you guys as a likely playoff team. Your division is showing like it's absolute crap right now. Atlanta's too inconsistent. Carolina is, they're Carolina. They're off doing their own special thing. And New Orleans, that's a train wreck. So the division is all but yours on the silver platter. Just don't screw it up. You should make the playoffs. Tennessee, what did we expect out of Yins? I mean, I had some higher expectations than 0-4. But again, there's not really much we can say. This team just did not have many weapons for Cam Ward. And again, I think that without that support, they're not going to be doing and fighting in many games. So that being said, they are going to be fighting for a top draft pick. Now, as for Washington, I don't know entirely what to make out of the Commanders this year. I have them as a possible team. They can do it, but they have had so many ups and downs this year. And given that they are in a division with the Eagles, and even the Cowboys can be an offensive juggernaut. Yeah, they're 1-2-1, but they can be a juggernaut. And you're in the NFC with teams like the Packers, the Lions, the Bucks. The Niners are playing well. The Seahawks are playing well. The Rams. You have a lot of stiff competition. And with them being as inconsistent as they are, I just don't know for sure that they're going to make a playoff. So I have them as a possible. Well, this is going to do it for my tier list. Here's my official Week 4 updated tier list. If you guys did like, don't forget to drop like and subscribe, as it does help me out a whole lot. We are on the road to 250 subscribers. We just hit 220 as of the end of Monday Night Football overnight into Tuesday. So, we're on the rise, we're on the groove, and if you guys want to join us, we will be doing some live coverage each week of multiple games. I do play-by-play, chat with you guys, have a good time talking with the chat. We bring in Dougbot, all that fun stuff. And, I guess with that, though, I will catch you guys next time. Peace out and have a good one.